Hey folks, it is September now, so I'll go through the monthly update for what has gone on in August, plus a few words on the Mitre 10 Cup, Super Rugby Aotearoa and Australia, plus the South African team's future, and a few stats from the month that was. My niece is outside with my two kids. My mum is out playing with them. Gaz is around somewhere. My missus is off playing with the kids, so if you hear screaming and fighting outside, it's probably the kids out in the front yard. But yes, August was a pretty busy month. Premiership got back underway. Pro 14 as well. Super Rugby Aotearoa finished. Super Rugby AU kept going. So there's been plenty of rugby on, which is a good thing. I did 48 videos, not including 20 live streams. Goodness me, it was a pretty busy month. That's a good thing. If I'm busy, it means there's rugby on, so everyone can be happy about that. Plus, like 12 videos for Patreon, which is, keep me a busy bee, but that's a good thing. Number one vid for August was North versus South. The squad's being announced. That game is this weekend, so that should be a cracker. Essentially, All Blacks versus All Blacks, or All Blacks trial match, whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure how much rivalry is really built into this game in terms of the North-South thing, because so many of the guys aren't from the island that they are actually playing for. But if you're fighting for an All Blacks selection spot, that's enough reason to want to give it 100%. So let's hope it's a cracker and not like going through the motions. For August, the top countries on the channel were New Zealand number 1, UK number 2, Australia 3, South Africa 4, and Ireland was number 5. Interestingly, the amount of women watching was up to like 4.5%. Usually it's like 2%. So only 95.5% men. The women's numbers are up, which is also a good thing for a channel which is still very much dude dominated. But yeah. A quick thank you to all the people on Patreon who support the channel, whether it's like $1 a month or $6 a month. I appreciate that. It's awesome stuff. I do put, extra content on Patreon. Some people support the channel that way just because they enjoy what happens here on the channel on YouTube. Other people want more content, be it like behind the scenes stuff at the games I've been to, or the kind of topical stuff, or the Super Brew stuff, where we look back at the predictions of the week. It's all pretty good stuff, and I enjoy the banter that goes on in that community as well. So a quick plug, if you are a supporter of this channel and you would like to make a contribution, links down in the below. But that being said, I've had a couple of people who are previous patrons just say like, look man, financial situation is not good, can't support you anymore. And I totally understand, man. It's a pretty tough time, people losing their jobs, people getting laid off. So if you are worried about your weekly budget, do not even think about supporting me on Patreon, because you should only be doing it if it's like, you can afford a coffee and you're going to go without that coffee for the week kind of thing. But yeah, thank you to those people who I just scrolled the names up. The support from you guys, despite the tough times, is definitely very much appreciated. For Mitre 10 Cup, a couple of people have asked me, am I going to do videos for Mitre 10 Cup? I will probably do a handful. I can't imagine I will do like a full week in, week out previews, reviews. There's a ton of games, and I'm not sure what the interest levels are going to be like. It's a pretty limited audience for the Mitre 10 Cup. It may be a little bit increased given the pandemic, and there'll probably be higher class players playing in the Mitre 10 Cup than there might ordinarily be. There's a guy named Driving Mall who's also got a YouTube channel. He does really thorough Mitre 10 Cup stuff if you're after more Mitre 10 Cup stuff. Just Google Driving Mall, YouTube Rugby, something like that. But yeah, I'll probably do a few vids. And I'm running a Super Brew pool for Mitre 10 Cup. I know a lot of you guys who have already invited have said like, damn, I've got no idea. Mitre 10 Cup, if you haven't watched it before, it's our domestic competition. It's below All Blacks and below Super Rugby, so it's kind of like that third level competition. It's usually really fun. Usually high scoring, emerging All Blacks playing, and usually a few old guys who've come back from overseas for one last hurrah, like Kieran Reid's going to be playing for counties. But this year, I think, there may actually be more kind of All Blacks playing in that competition as well. So if you haven't followed the competition before, it's worth a watch. It's a bit of entertainment, and yeah, I would suggest watching a game or two if you do get a chance. So Super Rugby pool, I will put the link in the description if you guys want to play that prediction game along with the group. And yeah, I'll be doing the videos on Patreon where I summarize my picks and who was top of the log, who's up and who's down, and whatnot. The next question is a bit of a bigger one, like the Super Rugby future. One of the news outlets here is reporting that New Zealand is good to go with Super Rugby Aotearoa next week. New Zealand threw out a big ultimatum to Australia ages ago now and said, you know, here's the deal. You guys can have maybe 2, 3 teams, maybe 4, but we're going to have 5. There's going to be a Pacific team. And Australia kind of went, okay, maybe not. They proposed their own deal, either like a Trans-Tasman competition or potentially like a Champions Cup style competition with the top teams from South Africa, New Zealand, and maybe Japan and whatnot. Nothing's really come of it. They're still kind of talking. So News Hub over here, I think, is the channel that was reporting it, as one of our news sources over here, saying that Super Rugby Aotearoa is on the cards for next year. Likewise, Super Rugby Australia, and then there may be some kind of crossover tournament at the end. But they are definitely planning for a domestic-only competition. Now, where does that leave the Argentinians and the Springbok guys, like the South African teams? That's a good question, but by all accounts, the South African teams will be going north. That seems to be the talk. That being said, the Cheetahs and the Kings, who are already in the north, have confirmed they're not going to be playing in 2020. Remember, the Pro 14 is supposed to kick off, I think, end of October. So how it's going to work remains to be seen, but it seems like the only natural progression for the guys. They're going to be looking for a comp. This is the Sharks, the Bulls, the Stormers, the Lions. Where are they going to go? They're going to need a competition to play, and the Pro seems to make the most sense, for better or worse, despite the seasonal differences and whatnot. But yeah, we will have to wait and see how that goes. So yeah, I haven't done videos on it because goodness knows when we're going to finally get news. I don't know. Everything's just still talk at the moment. I don't want to kind of make videos every day with each rumor that kind of comes out. But yeah. Finally, I forgot to write it on the board, but the England are going to be playing the Barbars late October as well. And apparently they're going to have fans to that game, but not a full stadium, maybe like 20,000 in Twickenham, which seems like 80,000. So that's also good news. We have seen, despite the pandemic, outside of New Zealand, where they had no restrictions for a while, no crowds at the moment, but like Australia, they did like limited crowds, and they did that game in Scotland recently. Edinburgh, Glasgow had limited crowds, so it makes sense if you're going to get some fans, if you can do it safely, it is better than none. But yeah, that's the month that was. Cheers, guys, for watching the videos, for liking, commenting, subscribing, all that jazz. It is very much appreciated, and to the Patreon people for the support, also very much appreciated. Yeah, plenty of rugby to come this weekend. Pro 14 semi-finals, North versus South, last regular round of Super Rugby AU. The Premiership's on. Top 14's getting back underway. It is all on, and it is a good thing. Alright guys, take care, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.